In this video, I'll be discussing about the basic idea of forms in Microsoft Access. So first, you will have to create a basic database. So you'll have to have some tables, which every database, a basic relational database does have, and also how these tables are related to each other, the relationships. So as you can see in database tools in the ribbon, if I click, see the relationship, this is the relationship that I have set. So for any of this, if you are wanting to see more details, check my previous video, the basic overview of MS Access, to see of how to create tables, sets, the settings and different relationships, how to create among this. So in this video, we'll be discussing about the forms. So after we create a basic database, I can also start creating forms. So if you go in the ribbon and press this option create, you will see different options that Microsoft Access has. One is of query, one is of form and report. So for a form, I can use the form wizard to create a basic form. So if let's just to show example, let's say I make a form for one of the table, employee details. So when I make a form, I have a choice whether I want to make forms for more than one table or one. So first let's take a form for just one table. In this particular database, let's take the employee details. So among the forms, when I create a form, I can select different columns which I want to include as a part of the form, different fields. So as you can see in this table, employee details are different fields for each column, which have different details. I can select which details do I want to include as part of the form. If I want to select some of them, let's say I want only employee code, employee name, and department, I can use a single arrow. If I want all details at once, I can use a double arrow. And to remove all the details at once, I use a double arrow which is having the backwards direction. So let's say if I want to make a form with all of the details at one go. Press the double arrow, all of these come. Just for employees details in this case, I want to make only for single table as of now. Press next. It shows you different formats I can use to display the form. One is columnar, tabular. I can choose whichever is suitable for my purpose. If the default is suitable also, I can go ahead with it directly. Press next. It gives you an option to rename the form if I want to. If it's suitable the name, press finish. Now this, as you can see, is what is a form in Microsoft Access. The first form which shows details will be of existing enter, the first entry. In case you have a blank table, it will be blank. In case it already has some entry, it will show you first details first. Like in this table, it's filled with ABC 111, the details of this person. So as you can see, all these details are shown already filled in this form. So you can see this arrows, I can go next record. This is of 112, the exact next record here. I can go like this, go to 1132. Now if I want to go to the end, I go to 4. You can see it's a blank one. Now here I can enter new details of someone who is not included. So let's say I want to add a new employee. This is 1113. So the unique identification, let's make it 1114. And maybe person, let's say Y. Date of joining I can set as per whatever. So here validation rules, anything which was set for the fields will apply. So I had in this field, I had set a rule in the previous video that I could not enter a date of joining before 2010 because that was the date this organization was formed. So whatever rule I set, so here I had set this rule in the case of the validation rule in the field settings in design view. The date of joining should be after first 2010. So if I try to enter here, let's say a joining date of 2009, you can see it will give an error. Validation rules will also apply to forms which were in the original table. Let's enter any date of joining after 2010 as per the rule. Select any department. And now you can close this. Now go back to this table. You will see it's added a new detail which I entered using the form. So as you can see, form, I could add new details and I can also see existing data. It helps us in all these ways. Now there's also other options. So this was just form for one table. I can also make forms for related tables together. So for example, let's to prepare that, let's say I want to remove this form, which I just created. Then press delete if I want to delete the form. First close it, then press delete. So you do not need to delete it, but just to avoid it becoming filled with forms as I'm showing you different type of forms, I have deleted it. You do not need to delete it if you want that form to remain. You can have more than one form in the same Microsoft Access sheet. So go back, let's go to Form Wizard, go to Create Form Wizard. Now here, as you can see, I can select different tables at the same time. So let's say I want to select every value in salary details. So go to salary details, select these two arrows. So using a double arrow, I selected all the details in one go. Maybe in employee details, I want only employee code, employee name, department. Let's leave date of joining. So I use a single arrow. So these all details will now go into the form. Now press next. As you can see, it asks, this it did not ask before. How do you want to view your data? First, it shows the main table, the employee details table, which had a primary code. It shows that under this, I can have a subform. As you can see, the big main form is of employee details. And under it, the subform, as salary details is only of each employee. Employee details is a main form under which I can give salary of each employee. So subform has basically two forms in the same place. So if it's fine with me, I can press next. Again, it gives two options for layout. How do I want to format it? If it's suitable for me, I can do next. It shows two forms it will create. One is the form itself, which also has a subform within it also, as I will just show you. And separately it shows a subform. I can rename each of these if I want. Otherwise, if it's suitable, I can go with the default. So press finish. As you can see, two copies have been sold. One is the form itself. This is having the subform. You can see the basic details of the employee. Employee details is all which was here, which I selected. So I selected everything apart from date of joining. This is visible in this table. Employee code, as you can see, employee name and department. As I selected is in this main form on top. Under this, the subform, which I selected all details of the salary details table. You can see there's a smaller form within it. This is a form with subform. It also shows a copy of this separately, the subform alone. But a person who's filling could now use this to be filled. And it's also easier to read existing data. You can see for 111 ABC, you can see salary details in one place. It is much more easier to read as compared to these two tables separately. And if I want to add records for new person like 114, which I just added, I can add different salary details here. Say in Jan, I add the salary of 41,000. So I can add different details in this. Let's say change the department. So press here. So as you can see, a department now is changed here. So and this also has been added. So in salary details, I've added for as I added for Jan. So now just close all. So it's always better to close, it will then update. As you can see, it's now added. So remember to close all this. Usually it doesn't update unless you close some of the things which are open. So as you can see, it's added now in this. So I can using a form with subforms, I can make a form where everything is in one place of related tables, which is the advantage to use. This is one type of form which I can make when I have related tables. Another option is a linked form. Just to show a linked form, so now go to create form wizard. Again, let's say I want only these some certain details of employee details. So I use a single arrow. I want all details of salary details. So I select all using a double arrows. Now I have two related forms. So press next. Again, you get this option. Same way as before, we can categorize it by the main form which has a primary key, the employee code here, along with a smaller part of the second form. Here this was showing subform. I can also have a linked form. So instead of linked form, basically like in websites, I press links to go from one page to another. So it makes a form which has a link to go to the other form. I can just press next. Let's say if the default settings are fine. Name I can change here if I want. Press finish. And as you can see, now these details are here. Sometimes in the form wizard, there could be error in the layout. As you can see, this link is come, but is not getting pressed. because it's getting covered by this employee details on top. For changing this for orientation of it, let's go to view. I can go to layout or design view to change this format. So let's say layout view. Here I can change, like I can drag this here, how it looks. Anything, let's say I want employee code to be a little above. I can make this above here. So I can change any format. I can make this smaller, maybe name doesn't need to be so big. So I can drag this arrows here. Some things if do not come proper, I can edit it in the layout view. Also, I similarly, if I go to the design view, so here I can show a design view. Here it just shows this grid. You see these lines. If you find this, so I could similarly edit it, except it shows these lines for reference here. So go back to form view to use this form. Now, as you can see, this link has been created. Press salary details, it goes to the salary details form. If here it will not have a link, so employee details will have a link to go to the next one. So I can press it salary details. I can close it. So instead of having both in one place, it makes one form with one detail and it has a link to go to the other form, which is related to this particular form. So that's the use of a linked form. So these are different options which I can use to create a form. I can either make a single form, or if related tables, I can create a linked form or a single or a form with subform.